Hello, and welcome back, both you and me. I think. Wow, indeed. Okay. Um, so it's been a while. I don't quite remember much of what we were doing. Um, had to take a break due to work picking up. Had to release a new version of a product I'm working on in my actual job, as well as there were some birthdays, which required some vacations. But I think we're ready to get back into the swing of things and hopefully keep a more consistent schedule. The fun part will be picking back up and getting some momentum here. Um, so I haven't done much since the last time I streamed here, as I pretty much save everything for being online. The only thing that has been done is the Rust code was built out ever so slightly. So let me take a moment to walk you guys through that. Um, how's my sound levels? It's been a long time since I've had to do this, so is everything okay for this? I assume. Okay. Music's not too loud, not too quiet either. Well, I think the song just ended, but oh, no, there we go. Okay. So anyway, what I've done so far is I don't know if any of this code existed last time I streamed. So I just created a Rust crate, a binary one, of course, as this is going to be our Axum server. All that's doing is in the main function, it's just getting our environmental variables, setting up some logging, getting our database, connecting to it, creating our tables, which we'll go through in a minute, and then serving the Axum router. I don't have any routes set up or anything like that. We'll have to do that in a little bit. I have some general helper functions for dealing with our SQL tables, since we'll be using SQLX, although maybe it might be worth experimenting with CORM, as I hear good things about it, although I'm not familiar with it, and it seems to have a lot of boilerplate just to get something pretty basic up and running. Like, I don't like that I have to add all these little things down here as opposed to just this. But we'll take a look at it. If I do recall, last time we were working, we were trying to get barcode scanning. Well, we got barcode scanning working. It's just we had to actually then grab the product from the server. And that's pretty much where we left off. So here is where we're going to store our product. It's going to have all the information that we're going to need. I assume our ID was going to be that UPC code. From, oh, well, let me show you. If you guys recall, we were working on all that data stuff. That's what we were doing last time. We had this whole collector, and it just took forever to run. I didn't actually end up putting that stuff in a database yet, but that I can do tonight when we finish up here. So every single table that we're going to do or use, we'll pretty much have these four fields always, which is ID, date created, date modified, and deleted. Pretty much without exception. The only other like big field that may show up occasionally would be user ID, but this is just a product and it's not restricted by that. When we get around to doing like all the food stuff and meals, then those will have user IDs. But for now, these are just the general lookups based on that barcode information. Okay, makes sense, hopefully. So, one second, sorry, I can't see my... There we go. Now I can see my stream preview. Sorry. Okay. So we came up with most of the the structure of product over here, which was back in I want to say May. I think that was the last time. What, it's been like 2 months. So if I recall, brand is just the name of the brand. Name, right now it's none, but it'll be a string as well. Serving size, I think, is in a base unit. I think we decided it's usually like grams, but sometimes it's milliliters. And then like a human readable version, then some ingredients, as well as a bunch of nutrition stuff. And so if I recall, and it seems I do, the nutrients are a JSON and ingredients are also looking like they're going to have to be a JSON. Although in this particular instance, they're not, just given that we were looking at vegetable oil as an example. There's only one ingredient in vegetable oil, and that's vegetable oil. So let's start creating our schema. We're going to rename code to ID later, but for right now it's fine. Well, actually, maybe we should just have code be something else, just in case. I don't know if we'll ever run into a problem, but might just be wise, given that we've already seen in our data that sometimes UPC codes can overlap. So maybe we'll do a thing where when we look them up, we get the latest version, and that way it's sort of like a versioned instance. We'll probably never end up using that, but it might just be worth it to just leave code alone so far, for now. So brand is going to be a string, name is going to be a string. Technically, these are going to be optional strings. I don't know if we'll ever end up something where we don't have a name. Clearly, at least over here in this thing, we don't, but down here we do marry it and get a name. So serving size, that was I think an integer. They seem to be of the mind that it can be a decimal, so sure. Yeah, I guess one serving could be like 15.5 milliliters, something like that. There's no reason to not make it a decimal. Serving size unit. Let's make all of these just options, just in case. Theoretically, honestly, if this is null, it's not even worth adding to the database, but just in case. And so then we'll have serving size text. This is the human readable serving size units. What's an example of a brand? Campbell's. Campbell's. Tomato soup. And then we have ingredients, which will take an optional Serde JSON value. So it's a JSON array of ingredients, and not nutrition facts, but just nutrition. And that'll just be a JSON object. Very similar to this over here. Whoops. This over here. And so this will be technically a binary JSON array and binary JSON object. We'll be using binary JSON in Postgres for efficiency. We could just use regular JSON. Binary JSON is cooler. I see no reason to use JSON over binary JSON. Binary JSON is just nicer in the fact that, well, one, it's a binary representation, so ideally it's a little bit smaller, at least when it comes to storing the numbers. They don't have to be like... I mean, technically JSON is all text, right? So, you know, it's not a UTF-8 version of a number. It can just be the binary literal number. As well as binary JSON gives us the ability to index into these columns from Postgres, which is just sort of a neat feature. We'll pretty much never have to do that, but maybe in the future we'll want to do some like auditing on, you know, give me every single product with, you know, vegetable oil as an ingredient, for example. And if we weren't doing binary JSON, we'd have to actually like, we couldn't query that straight from Postgres. So that makes it a little bit nicer. Now this, sorry, why is this chrono is an unknown word? Let me just add this. Okay. The cool thing about this struct right here is, or rather, the cool thing I put on this struct is this little derive macro here all the way in the corner called table SQL. So table SQL is a procedural macro that's defined up here, all the way up here, where, yep, see, where it will sort of add all of the bindings needed for us to use the product. Where's a, I guess it's not auto completing for me, but if we were to use product in a function, we can do things like grab some creation SQL from it, and then this would return, you know, a nice string with the Postgres command, as well as a list of all the columns. And I think I got rid of insertion and stuff like that. I had it written out, but I think I decided I probably did want to go with CORM, so we'll probably convert that later. But for right now, this is good enough. And at least a good way for us to get started. So there's one thing I do need to add, which is in table SQL. There is a part where I map, it's over here. There's a part where I map Rust types to Postgres types. We're just going to have to add one extra, and that would be the cert JSON value. I don't know if Rust will consider this separated in the same way that it does with the brackets here, but let's find out. And we'll add an optional version as well. And we'll open up PG admin because I don't actually think I ever created the database we're going to be using. This might be the first time I've actually started PG admin, so it might take a minute. Hopefully not too long. There we go. I really don't care about updating an admin dashboard I'm never going to use after this. Okay. So we have a server. Please enter for server. It was just admin. It's just a local machine. And we'll create a new database for our health app. When we make other apps, we'll just throw them in there for now. So health app. I think the general stuff is fine, especially since this is just local bullshit. Okay, so our health app is created. Did I install Azure Data Studio? No, I did not. Okay. Hopefully we can still query from here. Oh, okay, cool. So there should be nothing in here right now, at least no schemas. Yep, absolutely nothing. Okay, so theoretically, if I run this program, the product table should appear with a binary JSON. Columns over here. Everything else I know pretty much works. I've used this very similar code before, although this binary JSON stuff is new for me. I should have used it in other projects, but I didn't. Wasn't overly familiar about it, and I couldn't get it to work at the time. So let's try running. We'll compile. Hopefully it doesn't take too long, given that this is a super small project. Yep. And looks like it made it. Did it make... No, you see it defaulted to text. So that tells me this did not work the way I wanted it to. So we can do a print line and just print out the Rust type. That should hopefully get us everything we need. Yeah, so it separated that out as I feared. Oops, that was too many spaces, one space, two space. It's kind of weird that, so where this is coming from, this whole Rust type string, just to clue you guys in, this is from the token stream where it actually inspects the product struct, the AST, the abstract syntax tree. It grabs that, you know, using the typical syn quote stuff that you would need to make a procedural macro, and then it sort of pumps that into this function, and that grabs the actual Postgres type. But for some reason, the internal representation of these types, when you actually convert them to a string to then inspect, it weirdly spaces out brackets and other special things. I don't really know why. I think it's kind of stupid personally. I don't. It doesn't make any difference to me. You know, having them all collapsed. I think it'd be nicer and easier to look at, but it's just what they do. So theoretically, if I should probably remove this. If I go back into PG admin and refresh this, you'll see that this product showed up here. And we can even look at the columns. This should have been binary JSON. So we'll delete this. Delete. And then if we run it again, we get JSON B over here. And if I refresh, product, properties, column, and we get binary JSON. Perfect. As well as our flags for not null. So that worked out pretty perfectly. So now if I were to select from product, we get a nice little thing here. And that should do it for PG admin. We should pretty much never have to touch it again until the next step. Oh, we have a spam message. Let me delete you. Ban. And then I gotta refresh my chat overlay, because we don't want to give them free advertising. There we go. In the future, if I ban someone, I'm going to have to make it so it auto resets the chat, or at least does a thing where it removes their particular message, but that would require me making the chat window quite a bit more complicated. Not overly, but the HTML JavaScript whole thing where it inserts it into the chat box would actually have to be able to split out different chats and then remove them based on text and stuff like that, which is a bit not worth it right now. Given we usually get like one spam thing a stream, maybe two. As we keep doing this, maybe that will become more worth it. But anyway, now our big thing should probably be actually making that endpoint to grab products from. We'll make a routers folder, and here we'll hold all of our routes. Should we call it routers or routes? I don't remember. It's been so long since I actually created we consider them routers. Okay. So I guess they'll really just be like a product router. Starting to have So it might be nice to have like API products and then the code as sorry, I'm just thinking ahead of when we actually get to doing the GET request to get the products, right? Typically when you would do this and you'd create the schema, the ID here would be this ID, the primary key. But we're pretty much never going to look it up that way. We would pretty much always look it up by this code. But I declined earlier to make the primary key the code. That might have been a mistake. I don't know. You know what? It might even be worth it. Okay, so if you look at a food, at least in the US, all the barcodes are the same. They're all of the same format, I mean. Obviously, the values are different. But if you go to Europe, do they have different barcodes? Like, is it still UPC? Is UPC barcodes for food universal? I don't even know how to ask this. Various locations globally. Okay. Okay, so there'll be another code we may need to use, the EAN code. So maybe we should even be hyper specific and include both. So that was EAN. And then we don't need, obviously, this comment. Now this does mean I have to open up pgadmin again. Whoops. Because I didn't install Azure Data Studio yet, which we will be using going forward. So let me just delete this for now. There we go. I guess we can get that going in the background. Azure Data Studio. They are actually sunsetting Azure Data Studio, but I really like it. I don't know why they're getting rid of it. Yeah, it's retiring next year. They would ask that I use the VS Code like one, but I don't. I thought it kind of sucked. Actually, this one looks... This actually looks identical. Why is this one like weirdly different than the other one? Is there a reason I would use this one over... This was updated very recently over this one. Why would I... In and outside of Azure. I guess it just... Let's try it. Let's give it a shot. Oh, that's not good. Please ignore these. There we go. None of that was real. You didn't see that. Let's add a new connection. We'll call it health app local. Health app local. Yep, password. I believe it was just Postgres was the password. And then health app. We're actually probably going to use the same like local server for all of our apps, so we'll just call it local. Test connection. Oh wait, that's not. Here we go. What was the name of the user? Did I forget it? Was it not Postgres, just straight up? For the user Postgres, yeah. No, I did admin. Whoops. There we go. So actually, there we go. Now I think if we disconnect and then reconnect. No, it still makes me do it this way. Okay, if it's going to not default into the database, then I don't need it to be called anything specific. All right, and then let's see how this goes. No, I don't. You don't. I just wanted it to run. Shift enter. Shift enter is how you run it. Oh, okay. Yeah, that should do it. Pretty ugly, but good enough. So we will definitely then be doing it based on making endpoints for each code value. So we'll even do like /UPC and then code. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Okay. So we're going to want to make a function that builds the product router. Which will take in a router, which is a Axum router, and we will return an Axum router. Oh, and it even wanted to generate all the routes for me immediately. But that's not what I wanted to. We'll make API root. Oops. Cool. And we'll want it to be UPC. And then we'll want one by EAN. Okay. Thus the router is born. We actually have to create the product thing though. Is that mod table? So we're going to have protected routes. As well as a build public routes. The difference being is public will not require authentication. Well, protected will. But for right now, we don't need it at all. Router, XM router. And I think we'll just return nothing for now. And we want to pass in the main router from here too. Actually, no, we don't. Oh, okay. And we'll nest these routes under API and routers, build protected routes. Okay. And we'll make these functions public. For right now, we'll even just add like a to-do. That way everything shuts the hell up. Make this public. Expected. Okay, then just use the reference. Why are you asking me? You're smart enough to do that yourself, I thought, but fine. Let's actually call that code. And does nest return? Yeah, there we go. Okay. Great, now I think we just have to actually make the lookups. Get product by UPC. we have to get the code, yep. And we'll be returning a JSON of product. We'll leave that as a to-do. We'll import models. We could probably just do a straight use on models here. Yes, obviously this is unused. And this has to be an async function. I forgot, my mistake. And then same thing here. And now we can make our query. So SQL. Yep. And then we'll query as, we'll bind it to the code. And then I don't know. I don't think we'll need it. No. If we get an await, I want to map the error. Okay, so here's what I'm deciding. Just to clue you in. Forgot. I have to talk out loud. Okay, so the thing about whether or not we want it to... All right, fine. Whether or not... So, okay, so we have two options. We could do fetch one, or we could do fetch optional. Fetch optional, if it returns nothing, it doesn't, output an error. If we do fetch one, we'll get an error. We can handle the error. But right now, if we do fetch one and it's not in the database, we will get an error and the client will receive a 505 code, which means internal server error, which is not technically what's happening. It really is that it's not found. However, the 404 code kind of makes it sound like the route isn't found, but arguably it isn't found because the route includes the code. So we're going to, yeah, let's do the optional. Make it an option. And we'll do if let else Axum response it's a response, and then there's status code somewhere. HTTP status code, there we go, not found. Into, we'll wrap that in an error, and we'll wrap this in an OK. So we want this to be a result here. And I feel like we could do this a little bit more idiomatically. No, we'll do map error. And we will keep the error and do a tracing error, database query failed. Product UPC query failed for ID error. There we go. And we will do the same thing down here. Did that just completely do that for me? Not exactly. Very close though. This ChatGPT stuff is getting really good in terms of putting it in the editor. I've been very impressed by it. SQLX, add that to user. We'll be using that repeatedly. Okay, and we actually need to do some extraction to get the database. I forget how to pass that in. I literally don't remember. Let me look at some old code off to the side if you don't mind, where I do just that. Well, definitely over here, we're going to have to layer in our database. Oh, we also don't need any of this since it's being taken care of here. I was wrong. We don't want to do it like this. We want to merge it. Yeah, that's what we wanted. And then build public routes. But we'll comment that out for now. We layered in this. And then for each route, we gotta pull in the database, which I think we can just get like something like this, basically. Import PG pool. And extension. Let's qualify a path here. These things are getting quite long. And get the database. The only annoying thing about using the database in this is you actually have to pull it out so that it recognizes it. Because while it's in here, it's still wrapped in the extension, so you have to pull out the first index. That's what it was. Okay, and then DB. Okay. How is that looking? Pretty good, pretty good. Now let's try it. Cargo run. And then theoretically, if I open up this and I do localhost, well, HTTP /000. Sure, that works too. 81, yep. API product UPC, and then if I do 1, I get a 404 code, which is kinda doesn't. The server is up. We know that. If you said the server's running, but it actually doesn't quite tell us if any of this stuff worked. So let's just change this from a not found to a okay. Then if I come back over here, we should get an okay, but we're not. It's because it's products. That didn't help. Although that really should have been products. A product. Just to verify we're not secretly getting. Yeah, okay, we're still getting the 404. Build product router, build product router. We merged those. And I did pick UPC, right? Yep, UPC. What if I just... That's not how... Sorry, that was stupid. Putting in 000, that's not how it works. In the URL, the 0000 down here tells it to bind to whatever IP this computer considers its own. So that's localhost at 127 or, you know, whatever my actual local IP is. Sorry, my mistake. How silly of me. So why isn't this working? It's because the API part doesn't exist. Do I add API manually in my other projects to every single thing? Because I'd rather not. I don't know if nest will cause it to explode. If I use the nest function from earlier, I could do everything under API, but let me just check if you guys don't mind the wait. Yeah, it seems I just put API everywhere. Let's give this a shot. I'm a little curious here. No, it doesn't look like it. It seems we'll have to put API in front of everything. Which sometimes you're just a silly guy. That was 2 minutes ago. Sorry, I missed what you were referring to. Oh, the 000 problem. Not just a silly guy, a silly fool. Yeah, let's just go ahead and just bite the bullet. API. I don't remember if we need our... Do we need our front // I don't remember. Where is our... Not this thing. This thing. Sure doesn't. But that's a good sign. Haha. Because products is in a table. Okay, seems like we have some working endpoints here. Yep, we got a 200. Cool. How fast was that? 2 milliseconds. And I'm pretty sure it was probably even faster than that. 2 milliseconds actually, it makes sense because it took about 1 millisecond to query the database. Yeah, okay. So we can put that back to not found. Do this. And we get our 404. And we could even see that when I refresh, it is checking for it. Yeah, you see now it's in microseconds. This is what I was expecting. Maybe... Is it caching the result? Let's ask ChatGPT. Oh, we don't need this. Under... Why do I have both Algamoth and Health app? Alright. Is this is an Axums. This is a Rust SQLX thingy. Why does the query get faster after first run? Is it caching? Because I would like to know how to disable that. Why does it get faster? Okay, so it looks like it's not actually saving the results, just the happy little compiled version of the actual query here. We could get that to happen faster probably if we did this. But I don't think you can bind things on the query as macro. The cool thing about the query as macro is it lets you test your queries at compile time. So like, for example, if this table didn't exist, the Rust crate would never even compile, which is neat. You know, unless you're trying to test things when you haven't updated the database yet to match, or need to bind things. So if we were doing something like just select all, that might be useful, but not really. You also run into an issue because I have a whole like thing about the database URLs, I think it would ask me to set a like one static one and not make it depend on anything, since it has to work at compile time. I think I played around with that in a previous project and I didn't like it. Sorry, my music paused. Okay. I'm just going to turn these into match statements. I find them to be a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. And the compiler does not care either way, so works for me. All right, so pretty much that's the Rust side. Until we actually get to saving, the actual foods and meals, but who cares about that right now, right? So if we go all the way back to our Flutter code, we're pretty good to start creating that product stuff. And we should probably nest the nutrition stuff. Just to make it neater, right? Because we're going to have other tables for exercise stuff, and I kind of want that to obviously be under an exercise umbrella. In terms of meals, I guess the umbrella for that we'll call nutrition. Just might get a little bit confusing if we end up oh, I should have done a git move on all of those, shouldn't I? Whoops, whatever. So nutrition, we're gonna want product.dart. Move this in here. I'm going to leave this up on the side just so I remember how I structure these things. Product. We'll extend that from our basic table class, which is just a placeholder at the moment. Product. And we don't need this exactly. We need this stuff. So basic table, we'll even add that. Where'd that other stuff go? Here we go. Man, it is so frustrating working with only one monitor, I have to say. Curse you guys needing to see things. There we go. You should be sorry. Int UPC code. This should be late. EAN code. String brand, string name, serving size. This was actually a double. My bad. Let's just capture everything from here. Just jam it in. Serving size unit, serving size text. This is a list of strings, ingredients, and then our nutrition map. Yep. Okay. Now we have a product representation going on there. Now, oh wow, these all need to be updated, huh? We're now a little bit at an impasse. I suppose we have to work on this. Anywhere we have code, it actually needs to be UPC. Since we gave that a the underscore code is really redundant. I'm getting rid of it. There's no point. We know that that's a code. EAN code. Product query filled for UPC code. Here we go. That makes more sense to me. And now I gotta delete that goddamn table again. Drop table product. Stop doing that. Shift enter, dropped. Great. Why is this still up here? Then we'll run the server again just to generate our happy little naming. Okay. I guess this is oh, you know what we needed to do? We needed to check ingredients and turn that into split that by oh wow, I have no idea what the ingredients are for this. What branded foods ingredients why do they have the word ingredients embedded in it? Did they really need to do that? Okay. Okay, we have solution. Okay, so oh man. All right, let's remove everything before ingredients. So we'll do another split. if gradient 0. And I guess we'll even split it again. Okay. And now we should have a list of unique products. USDA products values. Products. We'll look at the first one, and then we'll create another cell. I don't remember what the command was to make a new cell anymore. I remember I was very happy when I discovered what the command was. Last episode. Control Shift. Why would I want to insert it above? Almost always want to insert it below. All right. Anyway, we need to now insert this into Postgres. That's what we're doing. Okay, for product and product, print product, day created equals date time, UTC now. Let's import datetime from datetime, import datetime. Love that you have to do that every fucking time instead of it just being a part of the standard library. I mean, it is a part of the standard library, but like just in scope. Deleted, false, never mind, that's a 0. Since all of our Postgres Boolean flags we're just doing as integers because it's faster when you render it out to JSON, because if you take JSON and so you know, you truthy, and then if you did true versus if you just did 1, when you convert this into JSON, which is a text representation, true is 4 characters, while 1 is 1 character. And those extra 3 characters are extra bytes that need to be sent with the JSON. And when you have thousands of rows being sent over a connection, those 3 extra characters add up a tiny bit, especially when a couple of your columns or fields are Boolean. So that's why I do that. When it's binary JSON, it doesn't fucking matter. But that is only useful for Postgres in terms of sending binary JSON to our Flutter client. Who knows if we're going to be able to do binary JSON? We haven't gotten that far yet. Especially when we get to, you know, it should work generally still for a browser. You should still be able to query it. I mean, I can Axum return binary JSON? Is that like, is that even a thing? Can Axum return bJSON? No, specifically bJSON. There might be a crate like Axum BJ. That's very useful. There might be one that lets you do it, but there might not be. Okay, how does bson work in an Axum return, though? I didn't need to put the though. So it does return it as bytes. So I would need to make my own bson response, which is that any faster than regular JSON? Could Firefox still display the bJSON? No, so that's why we're it only works with JSON. So that's why we're doing what we're doing. There you go. Question answered. Okay, so Python Postgres package. I can never remember what the best one is. This one's the most popular, but this one is the most modern. Which do you pick? ChatGPT. For inserting rows into my Postgres DB from Python. What PostgreSQL package should I use? This is a strange package name. I think I've used async PG before. For its performance. In our case, we don't care, and I kind of want the synchronous benefits, because I don't want to fucking create a async loop in my Jupyter notebook. I think that would be really dumb. So let's go with its suggestion of this guy. That's an interesting logo. It's the trunk of the elephant as the snakes. Pretty neat. Yeah, okay. So we'll do this. Copy this. And I need to actually grab I think I'm not using I'm gonna delete this Windows install anyway, so I don't care. I gotta reinstall Windows at some point, so I'll just start throwing everything in the global thing. I really don't care. Nope, don't care. I would like you to resolve this though. Come on. I have execute many. Did I make this nullable? I don't remember. These needs to be optional. That was almost bad. And code, even though I overwrote it before, actually needs to be UPC. Why won't you replace? Now will you replace? Oh, it already happened. Or maybe I already did that. Did I already do that? Maybe I did that a couple minutes ago already. Let's delete this. UPC. UPC. It says it can do it. Will this work? I have never ran something like this. Um, you're making shit up again, ChatGPT. Did it just tell me to do execute batch and then just say, but anyway, I wouldn't. um, okay. Thank you, ChatGPT. Okay, use the batch one. I don't know if this is a real thing. Are you real? You don't appear to be. You didn't change anything though. You're just a... It's always making shit up. I just complimented you earlier, didn't I? Didn't I say it was getting... Oh, I said the... Okay, I said the one in VS Code is getting good. There we go. I'm absolved. Admin... Sorry, this one was admin. This one was Postgres. Postgres, yes. Let me check. Yep, Postgres. And it was health app. And I gotta drop this table again, I think, maybe. And then we're gonna see how this does. And if it works, I am hungry and getting dinner. There's nothing you can do about it. I'm gonna have a steak. I'm gonna put fucking guac on it. Guacamole. And my wife is gonna think that that's really strange, but I'm gonna do it anyway. She's gonna look at me and go, you have a ribeye with steak sauce and guac rubbed on top of it and a side of mac and cheese. That is strange. And I'll go, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, I recall when you said it. Grr. Let's run everything above this. Can I do that? I thought you were able to do that. Execute cell, execute above cells. There we go. And we'll query this one too. I love you, by the way. Not to my viewers in general, but to MB Leaf specifically. I love her. Just wanted to say that. She's pretty cute. Untrue, but thank you. I ran the creation tables and stuff on the side just so you're aware. What are we up to? What are we doing? Oh, we're still reading open foods. I forgot. This part took like 2 minutes. Good time for a drink. Gotta mute myself. Okay, back. While we're waiting for this. Ooh, that's not the right window. Oh, well, hold on. Maybe we'll go faster than I think. Anyway, I wanted to pick new music. But really into Honkai Star Rail. Love that game. It's really good. I recommend everyone play Honkai Star Rail. Um, Although I think like my very first stream or second stream, I okay. We'll look at Argenti Boss theme. I don't know if it's good background music, but we'll look. Uh, is I think like the second stream I like kind of said that Honkai Star Rail was garbage, but I was wrong. Why the fuck would ingredients be afloat? What? I thought ingredient. What? It was like. Well, that's what you get. Crab meat. The ingredients is made with smiles. Uh, I don't know. I don't know what the calorie content of a smile is. Probably high though. Okay, so let's change this up. This now just make it a string. Ingredients. Remove anything before and including uh, case insensitive ingredients. Oh, I thought it was supposed to you know, not do that. It is a fucking string. I just casted it to a string. Idiot. Let's just lowercase everything. Should we lowercase everything or should we uppercase everything? Sorry, to continue my previous thought. I thought it used to scroll. That's what I was saying. I thought I got it to scroll. Not it used to cut you off. Lowercase. Okay. And then we'll do the same thing, but made from. I should probably put this stuff above here. Why is this afloat? What is this fucking... Why is it a number at all? It shouldn't have been a number. If serving size unit equals not a number, serving size unit equals nothing. None. Ingredients, none. Do I have to do this here too? It's cast to, it's a float, isn't it? That's float there. Yeah, float. Serving size. Come on. All right. Serving size. Try. Accept value error serving size. We're going to do the same thing for try serving size unit. Actually, we don't need to try for that one because strings pretty much always go. Same thing for serving size text. And I'm scared that somehow this is also a number. I don't know how, but... And for some reason in Jupyter Notebook, my my replace isn't working. But this was just updated. That's weird. Anyway. Attribute error. None type object. There's no. Okay. If ingredients. Wait, what? Oh, okay. It was just because I did the upper. Alright. Please roll now. I'm so hungry. Woo! Alright. Now let's restart the kernel. And we're gonna run it all again up until here. Execute above cells. Okay, this will take another 2 minutes. 3 minutes. We'll watch it go. Nobody really showed up today. It's probably for the best. Getting my bearings again. We gotta start simul streaming to YouTube too. Apparently they're a little bit more generous with viewer guidance. I'm a little annoyed that that this didn't work. The scrolling, I mean, for the chat overlay. Oh, I reset it at least. Branded foods. This takes up a lot of RAM. I almost got 128 gigs of RAM when I built the computer. That might have been pretty good idea. Yep, that might have been a pretty good idea. um, key error UPC. This one was code. This was open foods. Where did I open open foods? Was that the first one I opened? Yeah, they call it that code. Whoops. Hopefully the stream isn't lagging with my lack of RAM. Not that this is a very dynamic thing to look at, but really fluctuates very heavily. I mean, at least this part is supposed to be the that big purple one was cache, I think, if I'm not mistaken. What buffering issues did you have where my stream would buffer while I was streaming, like while you were watching? No. Cool. Seems that fixed everything then. Okay. Vegetable oil. I thought I did the thing where if it's MLT. Oh, serving size unit. MLT. MLT. If it's MLT, change it. I thought I did a whole thing with that. God damn it. Is there a bug? I want to go eat food. Honestly, this would be better corrected with Postgres. Oh, there we go. Cannot adapt type dictionary using placeholders. ChatGPT, hello? You're the one who told me to use this thing. I don't know how it works. I was just going off of what you said, man. It is a list of ticks. I swear you got fucking stupid at ChatGPT. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Stop complimenting me, also. Now do we have extras? No. Why? How do I install extras, man? Took me way too long to find the documentation. There like literally isn't a... Okay, why won't you understand? Please. Oh, at least you're fucking Googling it now, huh? Why did you just tell me to do the same thing again? Okay, converting to tuples. Woo! Please. Okay. We're executing something. I don't know, we're still just making tuples. Yeah, shut up. Nope. It's literally, it's not. It's not a dictionary. It's a tuple. It's a tuple. It's a list of tuples. We've been through this. I just converted them. It's not a dictionary. It's a list of tuples. Why? Why? Okay, ChatGPT. I did what you want. I'm fine with doing this though. This works. I was hoping you would teach me how to do the thing though. Items. Is that the syntax? No, it was a list. My bad. Cannot adapt type dict. All right. I don't know how to fix this. It keeps telling me to do the wrong thing. Oh, that thing. Yeah. That's fair. That one's fair. That makes sense. Okay, that was the problem the whole time. Thank you for figuring it out, I guess. Um... Rows append P. It's right here. Okay, now can I try the original syntax that it wanted me to try? Give it one more shot. Should probably move this up, I guess. We can move this into here, since ultimately these are the rows. Okay, can't import JSON from... Oh, why? Just don't want to. Just not feeling it today. My God. We have 10 minutes. If I don't figure it out in 10 minutes, stream's ending. Please tell me this one works. It recognizes it at least. Amazing. Error. Ignore terminating. What? It's because it's product. Go through this all the time. Oh my God, finally. Whew. Yay! Where is it getting these? Why is it? What is it ordered by? Why wouldn't you? Okay. Amount per serving. They're not even correct. Look at this. Why won't it copy? Hello? Okay. Anyway, you can see it says jalapeno powder. Not even jalapeno. Couldn't even get jalapeno correct. Unless jalapeno is a thing. Unless jalapeno is a thing. Jalapeno? No. 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 Of course not. I'm so used to pressing F5. That's what that is every time. Also, I think it just... Am I to RAM? Is that what this is still? I can't even... Okay, it entirely crashed. That's fine. Sounds like a problem for next time. Have a good night. I'm gonna eat my steak and guac. Bye-bye.